What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up. Hanging out. Ouch, I got a thing in my back. Listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. Anyway. Yeah. I was, you get home, you throw your feet up, you throw on YouTube, or you dip dap on Twitter, and you're looking at stuff. And I happened to come across the what was it, Kotaku? I forgot I don't think it was for Kotaku because they're not that. Anyway, it was a news outlet that interviewed Shawn and Jim Ryan. And I'm like, why would these knuckleheads do this, right? Because there's no good to come of this, because what had happened when these guys were in charge, it's been a lot of bias, for them, and that is worn thin. They're not all these people out here cheerleading for PlayStation that much anymore, because they see what they're doing, they see what the industry's doing, they see what PlayStation has done this generation, and they're like, And honestly, this one outlet, I'm sorry I can't remember, it's Bloomberg? I don't even know who it was. It's somebody in the comments, y'all correct me, and it's all good. I don't care. I'm wrong, but I don't know who it is, but yeah. Anyway, he was drilling them. Jim Ryan tried to do revisionist history. Oh, we're so happy for the 10 years we were glad to do that. I'm like, you are full of shite, okay? You were fighting tooth and nail, crying, complaining all the way down to the last time of the thing. And you're like, oh, we're so happy to have a deal 10 years. I'm like, why are you lying? Why are you lying so hard? That's not how it went down. They were like 3 years, and he was like, unacceptable. Then he's like, okay, 10 years. Nope. We don't want a deal. We want to close you down. How come you didn't say that? And what he said was, there's deals in deals. And he said, we're getting into the nitty gritty of things or something like that. I'm like, man, this motherflower is a bullshit artist. And he's bad at it. And you heard he was stuttering. I was like, yo, just caught out with a big smack of a question like black cap. And he's sitting there, don't know what to say. And then your boy Shawn is just straight up lying. Hypocrisizing, if you will. Talking about, PlayStation always been adding to the pile of games, never taking away. It's like, you're full of shite. Once again, because literally PlayStation has been buying exclusivity and having some clauses in their contracts stating that they can't be on Game Pass. They can't do this. They can't do that. Only on PlayStation forever and all this. That's not adding to the pile. That's taking away from the pile. Now, when the pile that he was talking about was the PlayStation pile. Only PlayStation pile. So, in his mind, maybe he wasn't lying. He just didn't finish the sentence, basically. I guess his omission made it a lie in some people's eyes. But in his mind, it wasn't a lie because he was talking about PlayStation. And PlayStation only. And I've said this before, the way that they've been doing business for decades has been detrimental to the industry. The fact that it has worked and been popular for them has kept it alive for so long. But when you look at it, you're like, yeah, that's not good for the industry. You're stifling competition. You're taking away competition. You're taking away choice. You're doing all these things. Why would these idiots, these two CEOs, sit there? I mean, they know that there's receipts out there, right? For all this stuff that they know that, right? Because I mean, look, Dirk Griggity and Shawn, they pull out all the receipts. It'd be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna, and we bought the exclusive. And I give kudos to the reporter, to the person asking the question. He was like, So, you know, this ABK deal, he's asking Jim Ryan, this ABK deal, you know, why is it so bad for the industry when PlayStation has done the same thing in like Final Fantasy and all these other games as far as exclusivity, paying for exclusivity? Why is it different? And he's like, well, because it's the sheer size of Call of Duty. I'm like, full of shite. They just don't want Microsoft to get that bag off of Sony. To get that how much is it that they make? Just off of PlayStation alone, based off of last year's numbers, or it's like $7 billion or something like that. It's some crazy number. And I'm like, that's the smartest thing Microsoft did. The smartest thing was to flip it on them. And it's like, yo, I mean, you may be the most popular. I mean, Call of Duty may sell the most on your console, but guess what? You giving us 70%, baby. Microsoft is literally whoring out PlayStation to sell Call of Duty to make that money. Sony is making Microsoft so much money off of Call of Duty, and PlayStation doesn't like that. PlayStation doesn't want to see that. PlayStation doesn't want to see their competition flourish on the success of PlayStation. The more successful PlayStation is and Call of Duty sales, the more money they make for Microsoft. And that's the main thing that's pissing off these ponies, these donkey unicorns, and Jim Ryan and everybody else at PlayStation. They're like, how did this happen? How did we get in this situation where we have the most selling this console, allegedly? More people play Call of Duty on PlayStation, allegedly. And Microsoft's making all the money. How did this happen? Because Sony's not thinking. They're not thinking long term. They're not thinking big picture. They're thinking little peanuts, small, quick money. Let's go. Let's make that money and let's move on to it. Listen, it goes back down to that old mindset of console first, console sales first, and that begets the install base, which begets the console sales. I mean, the unit sales for the games. While that might still be true to an extent, when you don't own the game, you don't make that money. And Microsoft learned that so long ago that's why they passed on Spider-Man. That's why they don't have a lot of licensed games that they make themselves. Now, Indiana Jones, that was a Todd Howard joint. He was like, yo, I like Indiana Jones. Yeah, so let's go, Microsoft. It'll be a good look. The Todd Howard's like the poster boy over there. He's like the Boy Scout over at Microsoft, at Xbox, at Microsoft. And so they're like, man, Todd, you rascal. Sure. You want Indiana? Sure. We'll talk to Lucas. We'll get him. We'll talk to Lucas. We'll talk to Lucas Darks. We'll get that bag to them. We'll make it happen. Even though, I mean, the percentages are ridiculous, but well, that's all right. It's about optics. It's about choice. It's about variety for our customers. So yeah, we'll make like $2 on the deal. But you know what? It's worth it because it's gonna be a cool game. How many other games? That and Blade. Those are the only two, Disney type of games. What else? That's it, right? And like you look at the percentage of like Disney games, Marvel Disney games, Marvel Lucasfilm games, to first party owned IP games at Microsoft versus Sony first party games owned by Sony and their Marvel. They have more Marvel games than Xbox does. Yes. That also means that they're going to be paying more money to Marvel. So all those Spider-Mans coming out. That's probably why they canceled the webmaster, the Great Web, whatever it's called. They probably canceled that because they were like, yeah, we're not gonna make that much money. So and the game and the game like that they can't sell for $60. They have to. That's like a free to play joint. How are they gonna make money off of that? And even if they do that. Like, how do you, first of all, how do you sell a game like that, eh? Maybe they can sell for $30 or something like that, right? Maybe. But say if it's like, oh, it's free to play, but you have to pay for cosmetics or something or whatever, right? Or you have to be a PS Plus member to get it or something like that, right? Marvel is getting a piece of the PS Plus. There has to be some sort of, contractual agreement where Marvel gets their cut. because that's a Marvel game. That's a Marvel IP. So Sony was like, Sony is learning the lesson that Microsoft learned years ago, probably like 10 years ago. And everybody's out there, well, why doesn't Microsoft have this, the Sony have their Spider-Man? It's like, I just answered the question. And also, Sony is answering the question now because you can see that they are running away at full speed away from licensed Marvel properties, IPs, games. I'm surprised. I mean, Spider-Man 3 is probably going to be the last Spider-Man game for a while because they're not making any money. You know, they're trying to leverage their movie stuff, but they own the rights to make those movies. And of course, Marvel gets a piece of the pie. They get something. As far as getting something from the movies, no, they still get the merchandising. So if Spider-Man 4 comes out with Tobey Maguire or whoever's in it, Marvel gets all the merchandising. Marvel gets all the money for the toys and stuff, and the shirts and the bed sheets and the underoos and all that stuff, right? So in that respect, Sony's losing too, because that's where all the money is. George Lucas was the smartest man on the planet because when he did the Star Wars deal back in the day, I think the movie cost $11 million. It was a low budget, sci-fi film at the time. And I forgot what his deal was. I think he got paid as a director, but he acquired the licensing rights for merchandising. And that's where he made all his billions of dollars. All them toys, my friends. So, Sony is not getting anything. They're not doing the Lucas thing. They're not getting the toy money. They're getting monies off of the game, off of the movies. They're getting a little bit of money off of the games. Not enough. Not for what they're putting into them. It's like, I don't even know why they're doing it that way. It's like, look, yeah, I thought y'all were a business. I thought you wanted to survive. I thought you wanted to thrive and be number one. But the way that they're acting, the way they're spending money, I mean, I would see this situation. I'm like, okay, they're getting how much of this? Like, how much do we need to sell? Say, yeah, okay, so yeah, we can't spend all this money. What are you doing? We can't. We will never make this money back, A. And even if we make it back, we have to pay Disney their cut, which means we're not going to make that money back. They're not making that money back. You think, what is it, 50% on the bundle deals? I'm like, that's actually kind of into their profit because it's like 50%. Oh, well, see, I take that back because 50% is of the profit, not of the total, whatever. So this guy almost hit me, but that's okay. That's how smooth and cool I am when I drive and do the videos because I can multitask. I can't usually multitask, but I can multitask when I drive because I drive a lot every day. Miles and miles and miles. Anyway, yeah, it really is an implosion on Sony's part. And once again, there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, this video game crashed. I'm like, it's not crashing. It's Sony's crashing, but the video game is not crashing. Microsoft's super healthy, super wealthy. They're expanding, they're growing, they're getting bigger. This is the one thing that I am wary of when it comes to Microsoft, is that I hope that they are smart about what they're doing, how they're creating these games, the budgets, because I don't want them to start closing a whole bunch of studios and take a little bit of a loss, maybe cut the scope down on some of these games if you need to, but give us smaller, shorter games, but keep that quality up. That's what needs to be done. We don't want to have games full of fluff, full of filler, just busybody work. We don't want that. As gamers, we want concise, we want nice pacing. We don't want a 9-hour movie. We want a 2-hour. A good 2-hour movie is better than a boring 9-hour movie, a 3.5-hour movie. Let's just say that. If you put too much in your game / movie, then you're taking away. It's a negative effect on the experience, I would say. And so, yeah, don't do that. Sony's learning it the hard way. They're doing it out of necessity, not because they think it'll make a better product. They're doing it because they can't afford to make those games anymore. They can't afford to make the scope of those games that big, that long. They can't afford it. So they're forced to make the games that we want anyway. I'm like, yeah, I don't understand, because it's like, yo, most of y'all are gamers. Most of the people who make these games are gamers. So is it like something coming from up above that's, you know, that's saying, yeah, we need the game to be 29 hours long and this, that, and the thing. Why don't we say 22 hours long, 59 hours long? Why? We don't want that unless it's an open world game. Maybe, you know, if you're adding content on a regular basis, sure. You know, if it's a survival game, or if it's a game that has a lot of systems and mechanics and physics-based things, sure. If it's multiplayer, sure. But if it's a one-done sad dad walking simulator, no. We don't want no 22-hour sad dad. We don't want that. No. We don't want sad zombies, sad dad simulator. We don't want that. We don't want 59 hours of that. No. Pretend that you're making a movie because you think you're making movies anyway, and extrapolate it. You say average movie is 2 hours. I mean, they're longer now, but let's just say, for the sake of saying it, average movies is 2 hours times 5, 10 hours. That's it. 10 hours seems like a nice number, nice round. 12 hours, I would say, is the optimal. Okay, it's like not super long, but it's not super short. It's like boom, boom, boom. If you want to be frosty, you could go maybe 16 hours at the maximum, but it has to be tight, concise, no slowdown, no boring, no fetch quest, none of that stuff. You know, just straight through. Now, if you want to add that stuff, that's fine, because some people are completionists. Some people want to do that. Then that adds 20-something hours or whatever. Because I remember there used to be a thing where they say, oh, well, the main story is 12 hours, but if you want to do everything complete, it is 22 hours. Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Make the optional side quest optional. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But I have a problem when you add Mary Jane missions when everybody said they didn't want it. Everybody said the first game, that's kind of whack. And you come back and say, you know what? I don't give a F. We're gonna give her multiple. She'll be super powerful and because I just want to be contrarian and neo woke and all these things. And I'm like, and Dahar, that's his name. I used to listen to him. I think he was on the One Up podcast or something before he was a game creator, game director, game maker. I liked him. I was like, cool. And he was the Marvel guy. I think he was always a Marvel fan. Yeah. That last interview he did with, I think it was Kind of Funny or somebody, I don't know. I was like, man, forget these guys. Forget him. I don't care about him anymore. He can go kick rock. He go kick rocks. You know, it's like, are you making a game? I mean, part of it is like, I want to make the game that I want to make. Sure, that's the artiste, right? Whatever. But successful artists or successful game makers make things that people like. And I know there's that neo-woke movement. I'm going to call it neo-woke because the original woke was a different thing. And people hijacked the woke terminology to mean something else. So I need to make a distinction between the two. So neo-woke is what we're talking about. And that is anything anti-LGBTQ, IA plus, I don't even know what all the letters are, is woke, right? And so empowering Mary Jane, or being against the empowerment of Mary Jane, is woke. And I don't have a problem with that per se. It's just how they did it. And I'm like, is that kind of canon? Is that how the character was treated in the comic books? That's what I want to know. And there are plenty of female super heroines, if you will, that are capable of filling that void. Why does Mary Jane, who has no powers, by the way, how is she busting a whole like battalion of bad guy criminals just like that? Like, how? It's a little unrealistic. I mean, because historically, her character has not been like, oh, she's a kung fu judo lady. I don't, unless I missed them issues. She's always been fine and a Spitfire and stuff. But I don't think she's been, judo chop and all that. Look, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. She's always been Tiger. What's up, Tiger? And he's like, oh, I can't believe I got that foxy girl. But, to bring Black Cat back. Bring Spider-Woman. I was about to say Madam Web, but I mean, there's still a bad taste in our mouth from that that movie. It's a bad movie. So I'm like, why don't, like I said, the Spider-Verse has plenty of female. Even from the movie, there was like how many? There was the anime Spider Girl lady. And there was Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen, please. Why didn't they bring in Spider-Gwen? I would look. I'm smacking Insomnia. I'm smacking Andahar. I'm smacking all them fools in the face for not giving us Spider-Gwen is probably the most sought after, possibly rising star to usurp Miles and Peter as far as like a main character. She's female, she's purdy, she got the ballet, she's cool, she got the her. I actually like her pink costume with the hoodie. Come on, son. I'm like, I even like that. I'm looking at all the Spider-Mans. I'm like, okay, yeah, Spider-Gwen's kind of the best one. I don't know, because she's cool and she's going through her own thing with her pops. Well, I just saw the movie. I never really read the comic books. So I'm like, why didn't they do that? Why didn't they do Spider-Gwen? But no, they did Mary Jane, and it's so dumb. It's like so dumb. And even the fact that it's dumb is one thing. The fact that he doubled down on he doesn't care, he doesn't give a F and all that stuff, that was just the stupidest thing ever. And I don't know if the PR went to him and said, why did you do that? Why are you so stupid? But I'm gonna be real. It was dumb, and it made me not like him as a person, A. And it's just not a good look. It's not a good look for the studio. It's not a good look for people who are like open-minded. I'm an open-minded person, right? If the Mary Jane section, the Mary Jane missions were cool and dope and fly and whatever, there would be no issue. But it was like kind of couched into this neo woke agenda, and it was like it's like why are you doing this? I understand that there needs to be some sort of pushback for misogyny and sexism, right? But when you go too far, when you go way farther, then it counteracts the goodwill that you're trying to do, and it pushes it past the line and the limit to a point where it's like, okay, now this is just straight up. It's kind of misogynist. No, it's not. It's what is the word? I can't remember what the word is. I forgot what it was. It's the opposite of misogyny, basically. And a lot of people. I mean, me. I don't even know the word, but there is a word that describes the anti-man stuff. And it's a shame that it comes to that, because it's just basically our culture and our history as humans on this planet, and it still exists in different parts of the world. Sorry for the tangent, but and that's why it is. It's not like oh, we can't escape it, or we need to do better. It's just we are humans, and this is how it is. The human condition will shine through all of our art, all of our politics, all these things. It's just, as you get old, then you'll realize, oh yeah, that's right, sure. I mean, it's not even just about a whole thing. It's just about paying attention. Anyway, back to the actual original topic, which is these CEOs and the double talk and the hypocrisy. It's just like, let me know in the comments below what y'all think about Jim Ryan talking shit. Stuttering, stutter. I can tell you're lying, because when you're replying, I forget the words. And your boy Shawn just being a hypocrite. He's a hypocritian. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, he wasn't even like the worst CEO, but like that, he didn't even have to do that. If he didn't say what he said in that interview, I would still be like, oh, I kind of like Shawn Layden. He's kind of been cool. But now I'm like, okay, you just ignoring the fact that you work for Tencent. And he said something about consolidation and Microsoft is ruining the thing because they're consolidating. I'm like, I understand that you name dropped Microsoft and you name dropped, I think he said Ubisoft and also that one other, not Tencent because he works for them. The other big China one. Oh, no, it's not China. It's Netherlands, Swedish or something. I can't remember. And he totally negated Tencent. Of course, because he works for them. He's not going to say, hey, yeah, Tencent, consolidation. They would have been like, shut up, Layden. Shut your stinky face up. And, yeah, that would have been a bad look. That's why he didn't say it. But, you know, once again, this is the business. This is, you know, the politics of video game business. So what are you gonna do? But anyway, hit me up, words. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about those interviews and how you think they came across. You know, and you know, of course, we understand. Some of us understand what they're doing. They're double talking. They need to say certain things. I mean, Jim Ryan can say whatever he wants because he's out the dough. Well, he can say basically anything that's short of libel because you know he's a Britannian, so. You know, them libel laws are pretty tight over there. But anyway, it's a Japanese company, so I'm not too sure how the libel laws work in Japan. I think they're strict over there too. But anyway, yeah, let me know what y'all think about that and all the other things I talked about because my brain is melting right now because it's hot. My AC is broken. Yeah. I'm gonna fix it soon. But anyway, appreciate y'all forever and ever and ever. And I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Good